What's going on, Eagles family? What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, everybody? What a Monday night. What a Monday night. Um, what a past 4 weeks. What a season. We're here now. Welcome. Um, it's magic. Everybody, I'm here. I should have been here week one, but I'm here now. Um, it's a lot to pack in, it's a lot to take. Uh, where do we go? Where do we go? Um, I don't see how we can respectably keep the status quo where it is. I don't understand that. If we're watching the same football out there, it's time for a change. It's time for a change. And unfortunately, in the business of football, when you're the quarterback, a lot rests on your shoulders. And this is a guy that I'm talking about, when Jalen Hurts was drafted in 2020 in the second round, and all this drama was going on with Carson Wentz, I was the one that said, hey, this guy's gonna start. Kev, my boy Kev, he can attest to all of this. We have the messages. I was the guy saying, Kev said, hey, what do you think about Jalen? I said, brother, Jalen's gonna win games for us. He's gonna take that spot from Carson. So I say that to say this doesn't come from a place of malice. Um, this doesn't come from a place of I don't want to see Jalen do good. This comes from a place of I know what we have behind him. I know what Jalen, based on what I've seen, is capable of doing on the field and what I feel like he's comfortable with doing. And that being said, isn't it a bit weird that when we have to ask our quarterback to do quarterback things, there's an excuse for it? Like the Eagle fandom for Jalen Hurts and the excuse making is astronomically higher than any other fan base in their quarterbacks. And this is coming from an Eagles fan. So I just don't understand why a guy that's getting paid $250 million being asked to do things that a guy getting paid $250 million is supposed to do is out of the question. Like every game this season that Jalen Hurts has had to throw the ball 33 times or more, we've lost every single game. And to me, that's indicative on okay, well, what what's most beneficial for Jalen and what's most conducive to winning in with him in those situations. And it's not throwing the ball a lot. Isn't that very eye popping? Like I'm confused. Isn't a guy that is supposed to be a top five QB supposed to win when you throw it more? Right? Wrong. Not in his case. Jalen is most useful when his legs are very um used in the game. He's most useful when he's rushing the ball 10 to 15 times a game, 8 to 14 times a game, because that's the biggest threat he poses. He's had a wonderful deep ball throughout his career, in addition to that run game, which has aided the lack thereof of consistent intermediate game passing 10 to 15, 10 to 20 yards over the middle, um, out routes to the outside sometimes. Like, I'm not saying he's never made any of these throws, but what I am saying is that that's not his game on a consistent basis. And to me, when you have to box that in and say, okay, that's not his game, which is a traditional quarterback game, that therein is a problem. I don't, common sense isn't common. Where does that not click? Where does that not register that the guy we're saying is a top five quarterback, Eagles fans, I'm saying that we're saying is a top five quarterback, isn't best when doing quarterback things? It and it makes sense. It's not conducive to winning at the highest clip for us, because for us, when we run the ball the most, that's when we win the most. And that is a telltale sign. Now, you can look at certain instances, certain situations in certain games where Jalen performed and the stakes were at the highest. So you say, oh well, when we needed him to do it, he did it. And that may be true, but two things can also be true. When, again, previously, prior to this year, when Jalen is running the ball, which he has done, it's been effective, and it goes hand in hand with him being able to throw it effectively. You see what I'm saying? So, with that being said, if he's not running the ball, him throwing the ball isn't as effective, because that means his deep ball isn't going to be as wide open, or I'm not going to say wide open, as open to him as he would like, which means he'd probably be throwing it a lot less. So, and that's kind of a problem we've had throughout this season, with the wide receivers not getting the ball. And a lot of the a lot of the Eagles fan base would like to chalk it up to Kevin Patullo, not, you know, whatever, Kevin Patullo and his play call design, Sirianni and their lack thereof of creativity. But I like to point towards last season, where we were still ranked 28th in the pass game. So what are we talking about here? You know, where did that get better? It's not like this is a new thing. It thrived under Steichen, in the earlier stages of AJ Brown first coming here, and uh, heavy RPO. But again, that's based off of the RPO. Why do we have to run RPO? Because that's what Jalen's style is. That's so. Moving forward to now, we're here now. We've lost three straight games. We lost to Justin Herbert last night with one hand. He was far more aggressive with his legs than Jalen Hurts was. Um, Throwing the ball even, and just making the plays. Now, AJ Brown did make some drops, did have some drops. Devontae had a drop or two. Um, but that's neither here nor there to me, because like it's a game of consequences. And yes, you can say if AJ catches the touchdown, we don't need to go to overtime. But you can also say if Jalen makes throws before that, or doesn't throw interceptions before that, or doesn't fumble before that, then we don't need AJ Brown to catch the touchdown. So pick your poison, right? But like I'm not I'm not here to try to point the finger around at everybody. I'm just here to say, hey, listen, we have a guy in Tanner Mckee behind Jalen Hurts, who I've watched thoroughly, as he's played and touched the field for us, and in some of the worst situations as far as what we've given him. Um and he's excelled every single time. He's a 6'6" quarterback with a great arm, great processor, and he knows his game, you know. And based on what we have in our roster, the makeup of our team, his play style, which is the traditional quarterback play style, is what's most beneficial to us right now. To me, it's always going to be what's most beneficial because that type of game is what's going to last the longest. Now, a lot of Eagles fans will say, "Well, what'll happen when the line, um, what'll happen when the line folds and Tanner McKee's not mobile?" Well, quarterbacks get sacked, quarterbacks get hit. That's a part of the game. It's football. I hate the over exaggeration of Eagles fans like we give up sacks every single play. I for one believe that Tanner has a faster release of the football. His processor is faster, reading the defenses, knowing where to go with the football, and his willingness and confidence to make the throws is there, and he makes them. What are we talking about? I get it. If at this point in the season, if you bench Jalen for Tanner McKee, you're essentially saying, okay, we're moving Jalen in the offseason. But what's what's so wrong about that? Because he won a Super Bowl? Because he went to two? Like, I don't get it. This the game is ever interchanging. It's a game of moving pieces, bro. It's always moving. Nobody is safe. Nobody is safe. Like, what do you? He came. He did what he was supposed to do for us while he was here, and that's that. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Players do it in the NBA all the time. Look, I mean, LeBron, for crying out loud. What are we? Come on. What are we talking about? He did his job. All right. Now, what our current situation and what he needs? It's not meshing. It's not meshing. Cool. Let him find that somewhere else. And I'm not saying, yes, I am saying Tanner McKee is the savior. I'm dying on that hill. I for one, I don't think we need to go elsewhere. I think he's right there. Tanner McKee is right there on our bench. He is. Go watch the film. Go watch the tape. Don't tell me, oh, he started versus the Giants. Go watch the tape. It's not about who's on the other side. It's about his ability. Watch him. Watch him. Like, you guys' evaluation is so misconstrued because you love to, well, who did he play? It's the same take you guys gave with Shador Sanders. It's the same take. I was the one that said Shador, I think, is the best quarterback coming out of this draft, not based on the fact that he's Deion Sanders' son, based on what I watched him do at Colorado, given his situation and his lack thereof. I mean, what are we talking about? So listen to me. I'm going to continue to say it. I'm going to continue to exaggerate the fact that a quick processor and confidence in a good arm, great arm, is always going to get the job done. Now, everything else around it, it takes multiple things to win a Super Bowl. So for Eagles fans that are just going to jump straight to the conclusion and say, well, look at the Joe Burrows or the Josh Allens and look what they got. They don't have a Super Bowl. Yeah, because it's not just the arm that gets you the Super Bowl. It takes pieces with the arm. Jalen had all the pieces. He had every single fucking piece on the freaking piece on the board. Every piece. And it came together. He was good enough to hold it. That's not a bad thing. That doesn't mean he's the best quarterback in the NFL. It doesn't. What are we talking about? Like, you guys, you gotta get your heads out your asses, bro, for real. Like, he's here on our team, Tanner McKee, and most of the fan base, the only reason they don't want to see him I think is an internal fear that he may be the next best thing. And just like most human beings, you have a fear of the unknown until you know. Same with Jalen Hurts. You guys shitted on Jalen Hurts when he first came. You did. You did. I'm not gonna forget. Oh, but he earned us as anyone. Okay, and Tanner McKee can do the same thing. You just can't see it yet because you guys don't have foresight. You don't want to believe it for whatever reason. I'm not that guy. I see it. I know it. I believe it. Just like I believed it with Jalen. Magic out, baby.